It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege and honor to interview the Canada field hockey player, Madison Thompson. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be able to talk to you about the sport I love most.
Thank you. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in playing professional field hockey?
I guess it's kind of funny. I was actually talking with a friend yesterday about this, and growing up in elementary school and in high school, you have these career classes where you're supposed to pick a career and talk about it. And I always picked professional athlete every time. And I had teachers tell me to pick a new one. I had some teachers tell me awesome, but the typical, most teachers were like, well, it's not really feasible. Joke's on you. But usually it was in more the vision of soccer. I grew up a really big soccer and ice hockey player as opposed to field hockey. And then when I started to get more heavily into field hockey throughout high school, I decided to go NCAA. And there I was exposed to a fantastic coaching staff who kind of showed me that there was hockey beyond college. And that's when I knew, after my time at Kent State was done, that I wasn't done and I didn't have to be done. And that was a really cool thing to find out. And I feel like that's something that we're still learning, especially in Canada, that there is opportunity beyond collegiate play that allows you to be that semi-pro or that professional athlete life for a sport as small as hockey in North America.
Of course, what was it like going to college at Kent State and playing field hockey?
I could not have had a better collegiate experience. The teammates around me and the coaching staff we were under, I think that we just had a really special time, and I didn't really recognize it in the moment. I mean, that's always how it is, right? Perspective as you get older. But looking back, we were able to win. I think I have 7 championships in terms of conference play and tournament play. And we have the deepest run in Kent State history in the NCAA tournament for the team I was on my sophomore year. And just being around the coaching staff that was then. They're a different coaching staff at the school now, but I had Kathleen Weiler and Heather Schnemp and Larry Amar, who just put together a phenomenal group of young ladies and were able to bring in recruits from all over the world, which in itself is so cool to be able to have teammates from New Zealand and Belgium and Argentina and Spain and Scotland and so many other places that when I travel, I always have connections or people to see or people to meet that are friendly faces. And yeah, it's all credit to Kent State and that coaching staff. So I couldn't have had a better experience there.
Of course, how is that like? Obviously, as you said, you played with people from different walks and different countries.
Yeah, I think by doing so, you bring in different styles of hockey. And as I've grown up in terms of my hockey career and going and living in these countries abroad and spending time learning different styles of play, it's just able to create a different environment to the teams you go back to. And you're able to see how we incorporate the North American hard work and hustle with the European flair of the good skills and the crazy 3D skills, or the South American flair. And you just see what these different countries have to offer and how they approach the sport. And when you're able to create this somewhat melting pot, it's just really cool what teams can do when your identity is so diverse.
How is it like, obviously, getting to put on that Kent State field hockey jersey?
Yeah, it was cool. And I think, again, I give so much credit to our coaching staff that they really sat us down as student athletes under them and expressed how important it was that we understood that the athletes who wore the numbers before us, and that you're leaving your own legacy for the number that you're wearing, along with the legacy that comes with playing for Kent State. And I think that was a really unique thing that they did. And I vividly remember them giving us a sheet of names where under each number showed who had worn that jersey, and it was on you as the athlete to write a thank you card to that alumni. And I just think that connection makes it so special that you're in it for life, and that you always have that community and that family to lean on. Even now with the coaching staff being different, I still feel like I could reach out and feel a part of the team. I still follow along. I still look at their success, and I'm X amount of years removed now. So I think it's just that community that you find within your university. And I'm sure it's similar everywhere, but everyone has their special story that made their university home for them.
Of course, what was it like joining the national team of Canada field hockey while at Kent State?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with, there's two types of hockey. There's indoor hockey and outdoor hockey. And while I was at Kent State, I was playing for the indoor national team only. And that's a completely separate style of hockey. So it was a lot. I was training Monday through Friday with Kent. And in spring season, Friday through Monday, I would be back in Toronto making the 6-hour drive to train with my national team and then do it all over again. And that was my entire spring for my freshman, sophomore, and junior season. And that was a lot. That's taxing both mentally and physically, but so worth it. And through that, I was able to participate at an Indoor World Cup, which is a qualification tournament. So we had to win the Pan Am Cup the year prior. And my coaches and teammates couldn't have been more supportive. They understood when I was at Kent, all my attention and focus was there. But when I had to leave, they were always in my corner. And they would send me videos of good luck and we're cheering for you, we're rooting for you. And my teammates would snap me videos of them watching my games, even though I'm in a different time zone or in a different continent or wherever it may be. Again, the support, and that truly just matters so much. The support staff you can build around you only increases your career length. And it's so vital for the longevity of your career that you have those people around you in your corner backing you.
Of course, as you talked about indoor and outdoor, what is the biggest difference between the indoor field hockey and outdoor field hockey?
Yeah, the indoor hockey is played on a sport court similar to basketball, and outdoor hockey is played on a field turf. And indoor hockey is 5-on-5, outdoor hockey is 11-on-11. So those major things in general are just like when people look at it, that's the difference. And then you have the rule changes. You can't raise the ball for 3D skills in indoor. You have to play it more of like a chess match and keep the ball on the ground. You have boards in indoor, so the ball doesn't go out that often. It's more of, people who don't really watch hockey, maybe a box lacrosse or an ice hockey in that sense. But the boards are only a couple inches tall, so you can't hit or anything like that. So those would be probably the main differences. There's a lot of rule changes and completely different styles of how you approach the game, completely different fitness aspect to each game, but both equally as fun to play as a hockey player, in my opinion. Some people feel very strongly that they don't like indoor or that they don't like outdoor. I really love both.
Of course, when you played the indoor, what was it like going to the Pan American game?
Yeah, so in hockey, we have Pan Am Cup, Pan Am Games, and both do different things. Pan Am Games becomes your Olympic qualifier, and Pan Am Cup becomes your World Cup qualifier. I've been fortunate enough to go to 2 Pan American Indoor Cups and 1 Pan American Outdoor Cup, both World Cup qualifiers. And through that, have been able to qualify both teams for an outdoor and indoor World Cup, which is super, super exciting. I have yet to go to a Pan American Games. I'm hoping that next fall is my first games. I'll just keep working hard and see if I can make that roster. That'll be next November in Chile. And that will be our Olympic qualification. And that is a massive, massive step for us. This past January 2022, the Canadian women's outdoor team was in Chile for our Pan Am Cup. And that's where we qualified for the 2022 Women's World Cup, which was this past summer in Spain. And we hadn't been to that tournament in 28 years. So we finally managed to get a Canadian team back in the Women's World Cup. And that was something that was really special to be a part of. The time and commitment that all of your teammates and coaching staff has put into, especially the individuals that have been on the team for the last 10 to 15 years. I'm pretty new. So for me to step in and instantly qualify for a major tournament is really special. but to be able to help those athletes achieve that dream that they've been chipping away at for almost 2 decades now. And for the athletes even before them, we've been chipping away at that accomplishment for almost 3 decades. It's indescribable to be able to step on the field at game 1 on that July 1st and take on Spain. We didn't get the result we wanted, but people were saying Canada and World Cup in the same sentence. And it's been a long time since we've had that.
Of course, as a national team member, what was that like, obviously getting to travel to Chile and represent Team Canada?
One of the best perks that come with the job that I've been able to do is the travel and seeing new countries. I had never been to Chile before, so seeing new countries and knocking that off my bucket list is a personal win. But being able to take the field alongside my teammates, they're why you do it, right? Every day you show up, and if you don't necessarily feel like running that extra shuttle or mentally you're just not at training, you always know you can lean on one of your family members that are on that field with you. And to be able to come together under that common umbrella of we just want to put forward Canada's best team is a really special feeling. And I understand the privilege it is to put on that uniform, and that not many individuals get to do it, and that not many individuals get to play hockey at the level I do. So it's not something I take lightly or for granted.
Of course, how did it feel when you got announced to be a part of the Team National Canada field hockey?
I treated myself to a cookie and a coffee and a dessert for a little celebration. It was awesome. And I have some of my best friends from this team that I've grown up with. There's a couple girls that I grew up playing ice hockey with when we were like 6 and 7, and somehow we've come full circle and we're teammates on the Canadian national team. So to see my name alongside theirs is a pretty cool moment for ourselves, but also our families to kind of notice that the sacrifice that everybody had put forth, and that we've kind of just taken the good with the bad over the last few years has finally paid off. And I mean, regardless of the results, it always finds a way to pay off. But seeing my name on the rosters for travel teams such as Commonwealth Games and World Cups and Pan Am Cups and all those major events that are small scale Olympics is a pretty wonderful feeling. And then you're just submerged around athletes who are just phenomenal in their own way, and to take the field against the best players in the world is something that, again, not many people get to do. But then you realize that you're considered the top in the world too, and that's a pretty cool feeling.
Of course, how is that like, obviously competing in the Commonwealth tournament?
Yeah, so Commonwealth Games is pretty unique for those of on the American listeners. Commonwealth Games is something that if you are under Commonwealth, which is the British royal family, we all come together and compete every 4 years at a mini scale Olympics, and it's a multi-sport games, and it's you have the opening ceremonies, and you have all this fun stuff, and you get to meet all these fancy people, and you stay in an athlete village, and you wear matching gear, and it makes you feel that, I don't know, I would describe it as summer camp. For 2 weeks, I had adult summer camp where everything was sport related. If I wasn't playing myself or practicing myself, we were going to a new friend that we met badminton game or squash game or table tennis or track and field or volleyball. And it was just something that, unless you experience it, you can't really describe it to put a word on it. It's something that few countries get to do. To be at a Commonwealth Games is really, really cool. And I hope that it's just kind of rolling us into that next feeling, which would be Pan Am Games and then hopefully Olympics.
Of course, what were some of your favorite memories while competing in that?
Yeah, so this past summer, we were on the road for 8 weeks, and that is one of the toughest tours that our program has ever done. That means we left June 16th. We left Vancouver, Canada, and on August 8th, we arrived back in Vancouver, Canada. So for those X amount of weeks, we were living at a hotel, eating only hotel food or out food, and trying to also prepare ourselves to play hockey every day, every other day, and our training. So it was a lot. And I think just being able to spend time with the people who have worked so hard to get there, and to be able to see the rewards that we're providing ourselves. It didn't necessarily come in results. We had a tough go in terms of World Cup, and also at Commonwealth Games, we missed out on the medal round at Commonwealth Games, which would have been Canada's best finish. But you know what? We keep building, and there will be another opportunity, whether I'm on the team or not, for the next one in 4 years. I just think the best memories come from being around my teammates and not taking it so seriously that we're there, we've made it, and now it's time to play and enjoy what we do and show why we love what we do, but also show that Canada can compete with the world's best, and we can contest, and we're going to push you. And we've got a long way to go to be able to beat those top 10 teams, but we're there. We're knocking on the door, and we're finding ways to make them nervous. And I think that's a really big confidence boost for us.
Of course, how was that feeling like when you got to put on that jersey and have the Maple Leaf flag on your chest?
I think I cry most anthems, but the best part for me was probably at World Cup, that first game, being able to see my parents there and watching them stand and sing the anthem, and they're in Canada gear. I think that's just a really cool, and I don't know. I don't think I have the word for it. It's just emotional. And the sacrifices I've made, they've also made. And to be able to share that with them physically and have them watch me do what I love, that's the feeling that's indescribable. And that's the feeling that makes it all worth it. But it's emotional to put that jersey on, and knowing all the people who came before you that didn't get to stand on that field, that so badly wanted to be at the World Cup. Yeah, it's for them. So it bears a lot of weight, and it's something I hope I get to do again. You never know when your last day is going to be. So it's something I hope to do again. We have a tournament in a few months, and we'll see what we can put together for that.
Of course, what does it mean to you to be a field hockey player and represent Team Canada?
It's just bigger than yourself, right? It's all about being able to say, like, I play for my country. And I always tell my teammates, two types of people get to represent your country: those who protect and those who inspire. And for us to be able to grow a game in a country that is very big geographically, but very small in terms of hockey community, we owe that to our sport to help grow the sport in our country, and to help show that after high school you can go to college and play, and after college the pathway to keep playing is there, and you don't have to live in Europe or South America in order to be the best, in order to get to these major tournaments. That Canada can contest and get to the World Cup, and it is not a far-fetched dream. It is something that's achievable, and we've shown it, and now hopefully we just keep doing that.
Of course, what are some of your game day routines and rituals like?
It's funny because my sponsor is Ritual. They actually sponsor my stick, and we always joke about, like, oh, what's your ritual? And I don't really have any. I'm pretty girly in the sense that I like pink things. My stick grip is always pink. My shoes are pink. My mouse guard's pink. I usually only wear a pink hair tie, and I guess that's my main ritual. I wear one hair tie for the entire duration of a tournament, which is risky because if it snaps, I kind of like mentally go a little crazy for a little bit. But I try to only wear one specific color for game days, and I guess it's like my only real ritual. But when it comes to gear or anything, I'll play with whatever. I'll use whatever. I have really great sponsors that always seem to provide me with everything I need. Shout out to Ritual. But yeah, it's really just, I like the color pink and anything that comes with it.
Of course, how is it like obviously playing in that rivalry game against US and Canada?
Yeah, those are fun. The US is probably my favorite team to play against in terms of rivalry. We played them 5 times last November, and we took all 5 games, which we've never done that ever. And then we went into Chile for our Pan Am Cup, and we lost to the US in round robin, and then beat them in the bronze medal game to qualify for the World Cup and to knock them out of the World Cup. And as bitter as that is to not be able to go, and I don't want to be a bad sport, but I love when we get to beat the United States, and I'm sure they say the same. They love to beat Canada. It's just that classic rivalry of geographically, we're so close to one another. But also hockey-wise, we kind of have the same resources and the same struggles. We are limited in how far we can travel and the funding that we have coming towards us. So the work we put on the ground in our own countries is hard. It's hard labor. You have extra work. You have, and then I say extra work, I mean like side jobs, like working 2 or 3 jobs just to make sure you can play your sport. And I know other countries don't deal with that situation. So it's just more of a gritty rivalry and a blue collar rivalry, if you will, when it comes to Canada, US.
Of course, what is that like, obviously going against other teams like Argentina, Mexico, and Chile?
Yeah, Argentina, they're number 2 in the world. So when we're playing them, yeah, you're in for a long day at the office. They are phenomenal, and they're fast, and they're fit, and they're strong. And it's like, how can you beat all of those things all of the time? They are always on. They don't miss. You give them a millimeter of space, and they're going to put the ball in the back of the net. But also recognizing that they have some of the best players in the world. And what an opportunity to try to run alongside them and to do our best. And sometimes, we contain them. In Chile, we went 3-1 with them, and we were 0-0 at the half. And we take that and we're like, that's a great result for Canada. And then at the World Cup, we lose 8-1. And it's just a matter of, they're a powerhouse. And we come back home and get back to work, and we say, they're here, we're here. What do we have to do to fill that gap between us and the number 2 team in the world? Where do we have to put the work in? So those are very humbling games and very self-reflecting games, but they're important games, and it's a privilege to play against the best in the world always.
Of course, as you talked about it, what is it like, obviously, balancing being a professional athlete for a national team and also having a job outside of being a professional athlete?
Yeah, so we do not have a lot of money. We live in a very expensive city. I like to compare Vancouver to Los Angeles or New York City in terms of rent prices. It is very unfriendly on the wallet. But also, we don't have a lot of government funding, as it's very merit-based, and we haven't qualified for an Olympics since 1992. So we don't really have much government support in terms of finances. And so a lot of us is self-funded and or fundraised. And that in itself is its own job. And then you take side jobs. I work part-time at a local restaurant, and I really love that. It really fills a nice external bucket for me, and I have no problem doing that. And then I also coach on the side, so I get some money from, again, growing the game, but also you don't really ever have to pay me to help play hockey. I like working with kids in that regard. I love talking about my sport and telling my story, and I like showing them, and it makes me so proud when I see their success. But it is tough to juggle. We've got athletes on our team that are studying and or in med school. We have athletes on our team that are going through college. We have athletes on our team that are just graduating high school. We have athletes on our team that are 30, 31 and want to start a life, but we have training 8 a.m. to anywhere 12 to 1 p.m. And who's going to hire us when we have to leave midday to do that, or where we have to leave for 8 weeks to go play field hockey games? It's really hard to find a job that accompanies what we do. And when I'm trying to put field hockey first, it makes it even more difficult because it has to be the main focus and everything else has to get put on the back burner. So if a side job or a job I'm taking because I'm trying to, increase my resume or help set myself up for life after hockey, it's really difficult, and it does get to you. But then you just start focusing again on, nope, my focus is helping Canada get to that next step, which for us is the Olympic Games. And if it doesn't help me on that path, I need to let go of it.
Of course, how does it feel to obviously get to meet your fans and having them ask for your autographs and photos with you?
Yeah, that's something I don't think I'll ever get used to. It's really funny, especially if we lose a game. I always remember the first time I had to sign an autograph. I mean, I didn't have to sign an autograph. I was wanting to, or the kids were really excited. And it was at the Indoor World Cup in Leipzig, Germany in 2015. And we had just lost to Germany 8-1. And I was crying, like hysterics, crying. And these little girls are asking me for my autograph, but like I'm trying to sign it, but I can't even see through my own tears. I'm so upset that we just lost that much to the host country on the opening night of the World Cup, which is so silly because you win games, you lose games. It is what it is. Lose 1-0, lose 8-1. A loss is a loss. It's okay. But I didn't have that perspective then. But now it's something I take a lot of pride in, and I love asking them what position they play in hockey or what team their club they play for and who their favorite player is. And it's probably a player from one of the best countries in the world. And it is definitely not a Canadian player, but they're excited to meet me and my teammates and talk with us. And they were willing to stand there and wait for us to warm down. So it's always nice to go see our fans, and especially when they're the young next generation of the sport. They deserve all the attention.
Who are some people that you look up to in the sport of field hockey, and who are some of your idols and inspiration?
Yeah, that was an interesting question. I grew up a multi-sport athlete, so I didn't particularly know any big hockey names until I really got into the sport. And hockey-wise, I'd probably say my college assistant coach, Larry Amar. He was an ex-U.S. Olympian, U.S. captain. Sadly, he passed away in 2020, but his mentorship and guidance was something that really elevated my career. And I really appreciated all the time he took to help me get extra touches on the ball, or help me with my certain shot, or help me understand or go over film. And I really respected that. And I really still hold on to his values that he instilled in me as a field hockey player. But as an athlete, I'd probably lean towards my father. He himself was a very accomplished athlete, more so in ice hockey. But when I was kind of teetering with the idea of being done field hockey, my dad was always just, your playing time is so short when it comes to your life. And if you're weighing the option, you're not there yet. You know when you're ready to be done. So keep playing. We're with you. We support you. And there's never once been, we think you're wasting your time, or financially this doesn't make sense. They've always been in my corner. Both my parents have. But yeah, I just know from an athlete standpoint, my dad resonates with what I do. And I really looked up to that growing up, and the time my parents took to be on the field, whether it was the soccer field, the hockey field, the ice hockey rink. They were always willing to do extra work with me, or always willing to stay out late and pass the ball with me, or watch me do one more rep, or even time me running, just silly things like that I don't take for granted.
What are some of your future plans in the sport of field hockey?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We currently are going through a little bit of a change in terms of our coaching staff and with the national program. So I'm curious to see how that pans out. I am 28 now, so I am definitely on the tail end of my career in general as an athlete. And I hope I have a few more years in me. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what Canada can do, and to see if we can continue to make some history and get Canada back on the world stage and get our name in that pot that they talk about when they talk about the best teams in the world. That Olympics is something we got to push for. And Paris 2024, I know is our goal, and there's no reason for me to believe that we won't achieve that.
What advice would you give those college field hockey players that are looking to play field hockey in college and move on professionally?
Yeah, I think going into college, understanding that it's not it. Like after your 4 years or your 5 years, whatever a span of time you're playing in college, if you want to keep playing, there is an opportunity for everyone. Whether you want to be on the national team, whether you just want to play some club hockey and go overseas and experience that, there truly is a team for everyone. And just like I tell the high school athletes as well, there's a college for everybody if you want to play field hockey. Whether it's Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, or club sport at your team, I just think, especially girls in sport, we're seeing a decline in participation. So just getting out the fact that there is the opportunity there at whatever capacity you want to play at, you just have to ask. And there are so many resources out there that individuals just aren't aware of. And it's a shame to see the participation decline in female in sport. So for me, that's something that I really take ownership of, to make sure that I express how much I enjoyed living in Europe and how much I've enjoyed continuing to play hockey. And yes, I might live paycheck to paycheck sometimes, but I have found a way to make hockey my main source of income. And I could not ask for a better life, and I couldn't ask for a better career, or the stories that have come with it and the places I've got to see because of it.
Of course, what advice would you give those people that are looking to represent the national team, whether it's Team USA or Canada?
Communication. If you have any type of interest in being on the national team, reach out, ask to come practice, ask them to watch you, ask them to follow on your collegiate season. Just express your interest. Go to camps, go to open trainings, open trials. Sometimes they run camps for like a week or two, and ask for an invitation. It's not always just sitting waiting for them to find you. There's a lot of people. They can't see everyone. They're just people themselves. So make sure you reach out to who the coaching staff is, or to who your NSL or your national organization is, and ask how you can go about getting your name in the mix. And the worst that happens is you go back to your college, you go back to your club, and you keep working. Because if you truly want it, just keep believing in yourself. It'll happen. It took me 10 years to get on the national team. I've wanted to play on this team since I was probably 17 years old. And here I am at 28, so newly 28, newly 28. But here I am at 28, and I couldn't ask for a better opportunity or a better timing, for me to be joining this program. I think the age I am and the perspective I have is much healthier than what I would have had at 21, 22, and it's awesome.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
Finding me on social media?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can follow me at Maddie Thompson. My name is spelled a little differently. It's MADDITHOMPSONN, just because somebody actually already took my handle name when I wanted to make a Twitter. You actually do spell my name MADI, and my last name is just Thompson, THOMPSON. But you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Madison Thompson on Facebook if you want to add me as a friend. I always love chatting hockey. LinkedIn's also a great place for you to connect with other clubs and coaches and share ideas. I think LinkedIn's awesome for our hockey community. But yeah, follow me on Instagram, or you can follow the Canada Wolfpack, which is our women's hockey team. And yeah, we resonate with the Wolfpack, and our guys go as the Caribou. So we have kind of a fun little mascot that we can tie ourselves to. And yeah, you can follow on our journey. We've got 14 months out from our Olympic qualifier. So, it's going to be an exciting year ahead for us. And I'm excited to see what Canada hockey does. But until then, we hit the ground running, and we keep working. And all we can do is prepare the best we can and hope that the hockey gods are on our side.
Thank you again, Madison Thompson, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Canada field hockey team.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me. I loved it.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Madison Thompson, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you so much.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.